Today, we are diving into something really powerful. It's a framework from the legendary investor Ray Dalio, and it's all about one core idea: how to turn your biggest, most painful mistakes into, believe it or not, your greatest assets.
And really, his entire way of thinking boils down to this one question. Seriously, what if those moments, the ones that made you cringe, the absolute failures, what if they weren't just things to get over? What if they were actually the raw material for all your future progress?
Okay, so to really get what he's talking about, you have to go back to his biggest failure. And look, this isn't just another story about a billionaire. Nope, this is about a guy who got so good at learning from being completely, devastatingly wrong.
So picture this. It's the early 80s. Ray Dalio was so convinced, so sure that the U.S. economy is about to crash and burn that he goes and testifies before Congress about it. I mean, that's confidence, right? He was dead wrong. The market took off like a rocket, and his company, Bridgewater, was just wiped out. He had to fire everyone, borrow money from his dad just to stay afloat. It was a total public humiliation. But that gut-wrenching moment, that was the catalyst for everything that came next.
And right there, at absolute rock bottom, he had this incredible insight that became his guiding formula. Pain plus reflection equals progress. Think about that. Dalio realized that pain isn't something to run from. It's a signal. It's reality smacking you in the face, telling you, hey, you're missing something here. And if you can just stop, take a breath, and reflect on that pain instead of just reacting to it, that's where the progress happens. That simple little equation became his North Star.
So how do you actually use this idea? Well, Dalio came up with this really helpful metaphor. He says to think of your life, your work, whatever it is you're trying to do, as a machine. You've got goals, right? And the machine is the system you're using to get there. It's your habits, your skills, your whole approach. So when things go wrong, it's not some personal failing. It's not that you're broken. It's just a bug in the machine that you can diagnose and fix.
He even says it himself here. He thinks of life like a game. Every single problem that comes up is just a puzzle you have to solve. And here's the cool part. When you solve one of these puzzles, you get what he calls a gem. And that gem is a principle, a rule you can write down and use the next time you face a similar puzzle. So by collecting these gems, you're constantly upgrading your machine, letting you tackle bigger and bigger challenges. You're leveling up.
Okay, that's the big idea. But let's get down to the nuts and bolts. How do you actually do this? Dalio breaks the whole process down into this really practical 5-step loop. This is the how-to manual for upgrading your machine and making your goals happen.
It all starts with having really clear goals. You've got to know where you're going. Then, step 2, you identify the problems that are blocking you. And this is key, you can't tolerate them. You have to face them head on. Step 3 is diagnosis. And you have to find the root cause, not just the symptom. Like, the problem isn't that you were late for a meeting. The root cause might be that you're terrible at estimating travel time. See the difference? Once you know the real issue, you design a plan to get around it. And finally, you just have to push through and execute that plan with discipline. Do this over and over, and you create this amazing upward spiral of improvement.
Now that 5-step process sounds pretty logical, right? Almost simple. But here's the catch. Dalio says there are 2 huge internal barriers inside all of us that make this incredibly difficult. These are the true villains in the story of our own progress.
First up, you've got your ego. You know that voice in your head that desperately needs to be right and look good in front of everyone? It hates admitting mistakes. And then you have your blind spots, which is just a simple fact of life. You can't see everything. Your perspective is limited. These 2 things team up to basically create a distorted reality bubble around you, and they stop you from seeing the world as it actually is.
In this chart, this is such a great way to visualize what's going on inside your head. You've got your ego barrier, which is coming from the more primitive, emotional part of your brain, the amygdala. It's all about defense, emotion, and it just hijacks your rational thinking. But then you have what Dalio calls your higher level self. That's your conscious, logical brain, the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of you that is genuinely curious and actually wants to find the truth. The entire game is about making sure your higher level self is the one in the driver's seat.
So how do you make sure the right part of you wins that fight? Well, the answer, and this is a cornerstone of his whole philosophy, is radical open-mindedness. This isn't just about listening to other people. No, it's about actively, genuinely seeking out the perspectives of smart, credible people, especially when they disagree with you. It's a total shift in mindset. You go from thinking, I need to prove I'm right, to I need to find out what is right, no matter where that answer comes from.
Okay, so this works for you as an individual. But what happens when you try to apply this to a team or a whole company? Well, Dalio did exactly that. He took these same core principles and used them to build his company's entire culture. He calls it an idea meritocracy. A system where the best idea wins, period, no matter who it comes from. And let's be real, this is the million-dollar question for any group, right? How do you make sure the best ideas rise to the top, instead of getting buried by office politics, or egos, or just the boss's opinion?
His solution is this elegant formula you see right here. An idea meritocracy is a combination of three things: radical truth, plus radical transparency, plus this really revolutionary idea he calls believability-weighted decision-making.
So what do these mean? Radical truth is just being totally frank and open about problems. No sugarcoating. Radical transparency means almost everything is out in the open. Most meetings are recorded so people can see the decision-making process. It creates real accountability. But this last one, believability weighting, is the real game changer. It means you listen to everyone, but you weigh the opinions of people who have a proven track record in that specific area more heavily. It's not a pure democracy where every vote is equal. It's a meritocracy where the most credible votes count more. When you put all this together, it leads to this really profound shift in how you see the world. Suddenly, the goal isn't to have a smooth, problem-free life. It's to find work, to find a mission that you're passionate about, and then to embrace the struggle. Because as he says here, you learn to savor those struggles just as much as the wins, because you know that's where all the real growth and the real satisfaction is.
So that really leaves all of us with one big question to think about. If your life is a machine you're building to achieve your goals, and every problem is just a chance to make it better, what kind of machine are you building? And what's the very next puzzle you need to solve?